Welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 969-KTRS.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite and longest-running financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our offices are located in beautiful, sunny, quickly warming downtown Clayton, Missouri. I am a 40-plus year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm usually joined by very beautiful, young, attractive, smarter than me, prodigal daughter Erin, but she's feeling a little ill this morning, so Dad's going solo today. As she would say, and we help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a step-by-step plan, a real game plan that has several goals in mind. First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate. Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one that they can count on so they can do all the things they'd like to do during retirement. And third is addressing their healthcare needs, helping them choose the right plan to supplement Medicare coverage, as well as helping them choose the right Social Security claiming strategy. And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, with Uncle Sam of the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Well, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and thanks so much for tuning in to us this morning. We always have a lot of interesting topics on our mind, but what's more important is what's on yours. Phone lines are open. Love to hear from you. 931-KTRS, star KTRS from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. We'd love to hear from you. And as a reminder, all of our clients are folks that are just like you. They're our listeners. They're over 55 years old. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And we create a game plan for them with the goal of having a fun and financially secure retirement. Doesn't get any better than that. So again, we look forward to your calls and comments this morning. Thank you so much. I do want to remind everybody that there are ways you can keep in touch with us during the week if you like. You can always give our office a call if you're interested in the coaching session, 314-863-0008. Or go to our website, jblfinancial.com. Click on the upper right-hand corner, the Contact Us section. You can write me an email. Aaron grabs them, though. I never get to see them secondhand. Ask a question. Ask to arrange a coaching session. Our staff is more than happy to contact you. And again, what we do is we will respond to every one of those requests within 24 hours. You also, while you're there, you might want to go to the lower left-hand corner, click on the Coach's Corner newsletter icon. That's our monthly newsletter. We send it out by email every single month. Lots of different financial planning topics. Usually there's 4 in every single one of our newsletters, and we'd love to send it to you electronically. Just click on that icon and give us your information, and we'll be happy to send that to you. At the same time, Erin and her staff do keep the last 6 to 8 months of those archived for your viewing, printing, or downloading convenience. So again, we call it the Coach's Corner. We know that we have several thousand folks that we're sending it out to every single month, and love to do that because it's free on the internet. Makes it easy to do, so we're happy to send that to you as well. And again, if you are within 5 years of retirement, thinking to yourself, I've been listening to these rascals for long enough, I'm overdue. It's time to come in for a coaching session. Love to see you. We do them in person in our office in Clayton. We also do them by Zoom, by telephone. If we do it, if we do it remotely, we're going to ask you to send us a bunch of information so we can be prepared and make sure that that meeting is valuable and meaningful for you as well as for us. Easy to do. You can either call our office at 314-863-0008. Again, 314-863-0008. Or just go to the website and hit contact us. And again, my staff will be happy to contact you, arrange a convenient time, send you out a list of information to bring with you, and we'll be happy to visit with you again, either in person, by Zoom, etc. It is fun, though. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The markets were certainly a little crazy this week. A lot of downs, a little bit up on Friday, which is good. And as you can imagine, whenever we get into this, the NASDAQ hit, they were down 10% for this week. And when you get to that point, you usually get a few phone calls, and we usually do get those from clients. A couple of them that, Jeff, what are you thinking? Aaron, what are you thinking? What's going on with the volatility in the market? Is this going to continue? What's your crystal ball telling you? So I guess what I'd like to do is kind of address some of this morning. And again, these are just opinions. And as you can know, there's a lot of opinions out there. But we have a lot of factors that are driving the market. First of all, we've had some really good results over the last couple of years. Let's be honest. Markets have been very good. They were running full steam, lowest unemployment in history prior to the pandemic occurring. Now we've got vaccines. Hopefully you're on the list if you haven't already gotten vaccinated, or won't take too long for you to get vaccinated. And we know that once that happens, we'll be creating some herd immunity, so folks will be able to, at some point in time, walk around without being masked. And at the same time, economic activity is going to be getting closer and closer and closer to, we'll use quote-unquote normal. Who knows what new normal is going to be? A lot of folks have learned that, you know what, you can get a lot of stuff that you want over the internet and call, and folks deliver things. You don't necessarily have to go to retail stores anymore. That's something to see whether that e-commerce is going to continue at the breakneck pace that it has. Something to consider. Number two is, unfortunately, we do have 50 governors that are controlling how quickly they're opening things, and frankly, how quickly they're, maybe more importantly, is letting kids go back to school, which is a travesty. And so unlike China or other dictatorships or communist countries, you just can't get up and say, we're open. Doesn't work that way in this country. This is a democracy, which means that we've given 50 governors a lot of power on these situations. So things aren't going to open up maybe as quickly as we want, but we do know that we're seeing some really good numbers that are coming out over the last several months, and so it's very encouraging, and the markets continue to grow. At the same time, we do have a new administration. Whether you voted for him or not, we have a new president. We have a new whole administration. We're having cabinet members being approved. We're waiting to see what their real agenda happens to be, whether you like it or not. But one thing I think we can clearly say, without any politics involved here, is that, we probably fired maybe the greatest cheerleader for this economy we've ever seen as a president, and the new guy isn't a cheerleader for business. So we don't know what type of damper that's going to create for the economy, or whether we'll recover as much as we can. These are all unknowns. We're also seeing interest rates rise. Now we're getting to the 10-year Treasury, which is really the benchmark for all interest rates, went above 1.5%. Truthfully, who cares? I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. Truthfully, who wants to lock up money for 10 years at a 1.6% interest rate? I don't think so. But again, the markets have to deal with that information. So, we have the Federal Reserve buying debt, accommodating. We have our Congress ready to pass a very large stimulus bill. Debatable about how much is really stimulus, and debatable about how much is really needed, how much is really dealing with the crisis. And they're not doing it too quickly. So I think we're seeing the markets really reacting in that way. Of course, when they do pass the bill, we'll be back to stimulus as normal economy. And so I'm sure the markets will recover in some way, shape, or form. I think we saw that really the beginnings on Friday. So there's always volatility in the markets. There always is. There's never calm. There's always issues, whether they're geopolitical, whether they're just U.S. political, whether we're having natural disasters or storms, whether we're having fraud or abuse in the system, whatever it would be, there's always reasons to have volatility. And frankly, volatility is the spice of life in the markets. So the question becomes, is this the beginning of something, a large downturn? And I would tell you that, in my opinion, the answer is no. We're already in a recession, kiddies, if you haven't figured that out. So I don't think we're leading to a new recession. At least that's what my opinion is. But in any time that you were seeing times of uncertainty, I think what's important here is to remember, and frankly, this is the same thing in your life, which is you need to have rules. Rules are very important because rules create benchmarks for controlling, frankly, your own behavior. And really, in life, the only thing we can truly control is our behavior. We can't control ourselves. We can't control others. So it's got to be your behavior. So rule number one, it's always the same rule. Money that you plan to consume over the next 6 months should always be in cash and not invested. They call that the financial manager's dilemma. That's what we learned in business school, which is you don't deal with short-term cash, should be dealt with on a short term, not with long-term, etc. So what happens is if you know you're going to consume money, you do not want it to be at risk, especially think about last week. In our planning, I guess you would call it, in our planning paradigm that we have with clients, we're looking at cash in two different ways. Again, we look at it over a 6-month cycle, which is how much cash do you need? What's the milk money that we're providing folks, assisting them with their other cash flows so they can make their lives work? The income side. And then the second is capital consumption. If you have a plan on doing a project, if you have a plan on paying off your mortgage, if you have a plan on reducing debt, that money should be in cash, should be sitting there waiting so that when you're ready to pull the trigger within a 6-month period, then you do so. There are some projects that can be large that you might want to say, hey, I think we might want to extend this to 12 months. And that's cool. One thing that I have learned as I have matured, my wife would say grow older, but I like to use the word matured, is that the older that I get, the more cash we like to retain on hand. And that's not unusual. Cash is comfortable. Cash gives you flexibility. And and the only problem with cash today is that we're not really getting paid by any financial institution for them to hold our cash. We know that's the case. 0.1% if you're lucky. Who wants to tie up money for 1 or 2 or 3 years at 1%? I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Having cash on hand is important. That's rule number one. Always make sure that your cash you've got a little powder dry, as I like to say. Second thing you want to consider is, and again, this is intuitiveness, but trust your gut. If it feels right, do it. If it doesn't feel right, don't. I don't know what it is, but it just always seems like those first impressions, the gut reaction that you have to things is generally correct. So trust yourself. Trust your gut. Always do that. Rule number 3, fundamentals. If the fundamentals of the situation, and we're talking about especially regarding investing, if the fundamentals haven't changed, stay invested. Good question you have to ask. And so I would say that the change of political parties in the White House has not changed the underlying fundamentals. Is potential changes in the tax law or what the administration might do a change in fundamentals? The answer is no. We have vaccines on the market that folks are taking, which should put us in a position where many businesses can open, get back to normal. People can get their lives back to normal. Spending can go back to normal. Is that a fundamental change? The answer is yeah. So what do? Stay invested. Number 4 is easy. And hopefully we're not included in this category, but tune out the negative. There's a lot of negatives out there. In investing, we think of ourselves as, or people are categorized as, in their attitudes is either bulls or bears. Bull means I'm very positive. Bear means I'm very negative. The bears always have their day, but the day is short. Bulls always come back on a right because this economy continues to improve. The workforce continues to get smarter. Technology continues to improve and increases productivity. So are the best days of this country behind us? The answer is, my opinion is no. So therefore, being invested, staying invested, it's a good idea. And the last rule is real simple. If you violate rules 1, 2, or 3, you put yourself in peril, right? Don't second guess yourself. Don't be too negative. Sun will always shine. But always make sure that you have enough cash around and that your powder's dry so that you can deal with emergencies. You can deal with income needs, and you can deal with extraordinary possible non-recurring expenses. You want to do that. So that's easy to do. So those are kind of my comments about volatility. I do think that volatility is here to stay. Is it a bad thing? Nope. Because pullbacks create opportunities to buy the good stuff at a discount. I can get away with saying that because, the good stuff is kind of a nebulous thing and compliance won't get on me. But when things are at a discount, if you think that if you feel that certain companies are good, certain funds are good, certain investments you've seen have been good, when they go on sale, it's a time to buy them. So, again, staying invested. And most of us are doing that, especially if you're pre-retirees, through your contributions monthly to your retirement accounts, right? Your dollar cost averaging into the market. That's extremely important to do. So, the truth is you ought to look for down days. Down days are good. Gives you a chance to buy things at a discount so that when they go up, unfortunately, you can never tell. But when you look at your accounts, and hopefully you're doing so, at least on a monthly basis, to see where you are, you're probably not so unhappy because even though it's been a pretty crazy year so far, year's young. We're just through the first couple of months. So stay strapped in. We're going to have a lot of fun as we see the economy continue improving, and I think there's a lot of positive reasons to do that out there. Those are my opening comments. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. Eric's manning that this morning instead of Aaron. Hope she's feeling better. She wanted to call in today. She said, Dad, I can call from the couch. I'll just lay down and I'll call. I'm like, honey, it's all right. Take the day off because I'm getting my second shot on Friday, and everybody's telling me, adverse reactions, but I don't think so. I'm kind of excited. It'd be nice to be immunized, join the crowd as it would be, which is cool. So good. So while we're waiting for your calls, again at 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. I'd like to address an email that I received from Julie. It's a nice one that I received last week. Aaron let me in to look at the email since she wasn't feeling well, so I got a chance to peek in for once. And Julie writes me, my husband and I would like to retire at the end of this year. Woohoo! I love when people say they want to retire. It's just a lot of fun. He's been working for a major corporation for many years, and I happen to be a teacher. That's too bad. Teachers have had it tough. Spoken to a lot of teachers. Many of them want to get back to work. It's just a strange situation. A lot of them questioning about, do they really want to go back? What's the new world going to be? Who knows? We've been listening to your show for many years now and have found it to be very helpful. Well, thank you, Julie. I'm glad to hear that. We would like to get some questions answered before we make our decision, especially about investing our money, healthcare, and other financial issues. We've planned for some time to call your office to arrange an appointment. How does a coaching session work, and is it really free? Good question. What do I need to bring in? Will Aaron be there? It's always a good question. They never ask if Jeff is going to be there. I don't know. I miss the kid anyways. The answer is yes. Aaron is usually there. And the way that it works is that you either contact our office, either by giving us a call, Or if you would prefer, what you can do is you can also go to our website again and hit the Contact Us section. My staff will call you to arrange a convenient time to either telephone, Zoom in, or come in person. We will send you a list of documents that we'd like to receive and view either at or prior to our meeting. And they really include your last year's tax return, copies of investment statements, loan agreements if you have them, your will and trust arrangements, any insurance and annuity contracts that you have, or any other things that you feel are important, so that we can get to understand a little bit more about you and your financial situation. We'll also send you a map if you decide you'd like to come in and visit in person with our reserve parking spaces. And we do have reserve parking in Clayton, which is nice for you. You don't have to worry about paying for parking, so that's free. When you come in, you'll be cheerfully greeted because we have great staff, and they're going to offer you a beverage and ask you to come, ask you if you brought your documents, and basically sit you down in our conference room, and they say, Jeff, come on in. And Aaron, and the first question we're going to ask you is, tell us about yourselves and how you hope we can best help you. That's how every single coaching session starts. And generally what happens is we usually take about 15 to 20 minutes to get to know each other. We review the information that you've given us on a questionnaire that we've asked you to fill out. It takes about 3 minutes to do. About your family situation, where are the kids located if you have any? What are your plans? I remember last week I was visiting with some folks, Aaron and I were, and we looked at the questionnaire, and they were talking about they wanted to retire in a couple of months, but they had a couple of children that were living in Kentucky. And I looked at them and said, well, how long are you going to be here? And they said, how did you know? And I said, well, I've been on this rodeo before. I've seen this ride. I've seen this before, and it wouldn't surprise me that you might want to, since you are going to retire, is maybe to relocate near the kids, near the grandkids, to do that. And that was one of their goals, which was kind of fun to kind of bring out at the beginning. And that really was what had driven our particular conversation. So their next question naturally is, just like most folks, is that have we accumulated enough? Are we in a position where we can retire and, frankly, stay retired? And so what we do is, in front of you, usually about 20 minutes in, is we will create your cash flow game plan for you on our electronic whiteboard. And as we've discussed, if you heard about the show, we're going to talk about, and we're going to deal with the issues about pensions and Social Security claiming strategies, and when do I take this, when do I take that, and we're also going to deal with how do we either get rid of, eliminate, or manage debt effectively, which is kind of fun. And then naturally, we're also going to deal with all the other issues you have, which are about health care. Do I go to COBRA? What do I do after COBRA? Am I old enough that I can transition to Medicare? If one of us is, what about the other one? How does that work? And we really create a game plan for that also, that transition as well. We do that because we know that with more information we're able to provide you, what happens is you're going to have more clarity. And when you have more clarity, you not only can make better decisions, but frankly, you're in a situation where you can be more comfortable actually in making decisions. And that's good. And then at the end of the visit, what we generally do is there's homework involved. For many folks, it's a matter of going back and really checking their ledgers, if you want to call it that, to really get a really more clear idea about what their spending is, because the key to retirement is actual measuring and matching the cash flow, the after-tax cash flow that you need so that you can maintain your lifestyle, taking into account all of those other factors that you might have, which is maybe pensions, maybe Social Security, maybe rental income, maybe a second job, whatever it would be. Once we've put that game plan on the board, we save it, of course. What we want you to do is to test your numbers and make sure that they're correct. And there may be other matters of homework that we have you do. And usually if it makes sense, then what happens is we'll set up a second session for you to come back. And what we then typically do is if you're interested and you want to continue forward, is to continue the process. As I like to say, laying in the bricks of the yellow brick road, moving accounts, setting up accounts to receive money, creating timetables for when certain things need to be done, like taking Part B of Medicare, electing COBRA, making decisions on pension elections, those type of things. And it usually works real well, and we can usually do that within 60 minutes. Sometimes it's 90, but hour and a half, we're able to do that. And then when you come back, we really begin to clarify the picture more and more and more, because we have an opportunity then to really look at where your money is invested. We then are also generally going to make recommendations about, especially if you're still working, is my 401k invested in a way that matches my risk tolerance, A, and then B, a lot of people want to know, am I making good picks? And so we do what's called education. We'll make suggestions to you to consider in terms of creating that portfolio. And what we really are going to then do, maybe most importantly, is integrate the investing you're doing in your retirement accounts with those that are outside. Wouldn't that be fun, huh? Actually integrating those assets together, making sure that our overall mix risk tolerance is being met, and that we're really preparing those assets to become income-producing assets sometime down the road, which is good because they may be needed to fill in a gap, as it would be for income. Just as an example, and this isn't unusual, but especially for Julie, we had some other folks that visited us. His name was Bob, and basically what he told us is that he needed approximately $6,000 a month after tax of income. He hadn't paid off his home to make his life work. Well, naturally, what we do is we increase that after tax number by 20%, because we know that he has to pay federal as well as state income taxes on that. So that number would be $7,200 per month. Between his Social Security sources, he's going to have about $3,200 a month. So he's really, in that situation, now he's really short about $4,000 a month. But we also know that his wife has a pension, and her pension is going to be approximately $1,000 a month. So we're down to $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year. Question becomes, how much assets do we need in our bucket to basically create that income flow for him? And we usually use a prudent withdrawal rate of 4%. So you need 36,000, 4%. That's basically 900,000 of assets. So if, in fact, our friend Bob he and his wife had more than 900,000 of assets, they would be woohoo. They'd be rock stars, right? Because they have more capital than they need to create the milk money that they needed as well. Now, obviously, in Bob's situation, if he had a mortgage and if we were in a position where we could pay off or pay down that mortgage, get rid of it sometime within a reasonable period of time, let's say within 3 to 10 years, we know at the time that mortgage falls out, guess what? That savings can then reduce the amount of capital required, as well as the amount of income we would need to send them. And therefore, guess what? They go deeper into Rockstarville. So with folks, what we're really doing is, while we're doing this up on the whiteboard, we're able to identify all these issues, quantify them, and we're doing it in front of you. And so what's kind of fun is that as our wheels are spinning, so are yours. And we can be interactive and talk about this and really, truly, together, collaboratively, create that game plan to make things happen. And then, frankly, it's just a matter of you guys have to do because the truth is at the end of the day, that the plan is really written for us to follow. We need to execute the plan so that you can do what you want to do, and your job is easy. You got to show up with the money, right? A. And then B, also hopefully accept directions from us in terms of timing and how to deal with certain things. And what we're really talking about in many cases is dealing with debt obligations and how to handle those. And not to get tangential here, but I'd visit with some folks. We started our process with them a couple of years ago, and it was a matter of, okay, we knew that if we could eliminate their outflows, i.e. debt obligations, credit card, home equity line of credit, second mortgages, we'd be in a position where, based on their income, lifestyle needs, that they could retire with Social Security and with a little bit of help with some other assets. But the big thing was, how do we deal with this? How do we deal effectively with getting rid of this debt? And so we created a game plan for them to consolidate debt, to pay it down over a couple of year period. And what was kind of neat is that I got an email yesterday, and they said, I paid off the credit cards. In their particular case, that saved them, frankly, enough money so that they felt comfortable that, or they felt confident that they should be able to do this at the end of the year. So what's kind of fun is that, what we did, we set up a paradigm for them. We said, okay, we know that you've paid off this debt, you've reduced your savings somewhat. Let's take a look at, and let's really start to physically put that money aside, if we can, based on your current living standard. And then we can really test what your true after-tax income needs are without these debts. So then when we get to the end of the year, I think we'll really have a much clearer picture of your income model. And they dug that. They liked that idea, and frankly, I think it made sense. And I said, let's just put, they had 3 or 4 different bank accounts, savings accounts. It's like, let's just allocate some of this money directly to this one account. And let's watch it grow and see what's there. And let's see what our results are. And the reason I asked them to do that was, and I said, again, let's just continue to continue your normal spending patterns. Don't try to, don't go, oh, we're going to save this and we're going to change it. Because we know that people don't change their spending habits. They got to where they were based on their current spending. And so the answer is, you continue to spend the way you are. That's our goal for you in retirement, is for you to continue the same lifestyle. Maybe you're doing different things, but the same lifestyle, the same standard of living that you had prior to the day you retired, from then on for the rest of your life. So be honest with yourselves about your spending. That's something that you need to do for yourselves in terms of how you spend your money is up to you, but that level of spending is very important to know. And I think once we, that's our key number. So once we know where that is, I think we can help you and help you make some good decisions. Looks like we do have somebody on the text line that wrote in, which I appreciate. I'm on disability. What are my choices when I hit 62, 65, or 70? Will my benefit amount change? Can I also take my husband's benefit when I reach retirement age? Thank you. That's a nice question. So if you're currently receiving disability, I'm assuming that this lady, because she was referring to her husband's benefit, your benefits in terms of you being disabled, if you are receiving Social Security disability, what you're doing is you're receiving, it's called OASDI. That benefit should be your normal retirement benefit based on your age, which could be 66 or 65, or based on your age could be 66 plus. When you hit 62 and 65, those numbers don't change. When you hit your normal retirement age, what will happen is that OASDI goes away and it becomes SSI, Social Security income. So the number doesn't change; it just changes the name. So you're no longer on disability; you're actually receiving your Social Security retirement benefit. So it won't change; you'll be flat, be standard all the way through. Can I take my husband's benefit when I reach my normal retirement age? And the answer is, yeah, I guess you could. But I doubt if you, but I kind of doubt, the only reason you might consider doing that is if half of his benefit was greater than your benefit. Right? Because what happens here is that When you're claiming on someone else's record, it's based on your age, and you would obviously the way you maximize that is waiting until your normal retirement age, so you're getting the maximum benefit. But again, his benefit would have to be, or half of his benefit would have to be greater than yours. If not, then you're just going to continue on yours. And you're welcome. I hope that answers your questions as well. The Social Security Administration can be very helpful for you in these. What I also suggest is go to the socialsecurity.gov website. They have many vignettes that they've set up, question and answers, examples that are in English that I think really can help you. And they're not technical at all. And you may go, yeah, that's kind of like me. And I think you can relate to those ideas. And frankly, I think it'll put you in a good position if you decide to contact the Social Security Administration, that you can do so. Okay. With that, I think we're going to take our first break of the hour. When we get back, I'm dying to answer your phone calls. 931-5877, star 5877, or 84126 from the text line. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Don't touch that dial. I'll be right back.
Now is when a small change can make a big difference. If you're not happy with your current Medicare coverage, take a look at Coventry Healthcare. They have a wide range of plans with great service and clear costs, including medical and drug coverage in one simple plan. Just call 1-855-338-9551, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. That's 1-855-338-9551. Now's the time to call Coventry Healthcare.
If you're turning 65 this year, you face one of the most critical choices for your retirement game plan: enrolling in Medicare Part B and choosing your Medicare supplement. I will help you safely navigate this process and find the health insurance plan that best works with your new Medicare coverage. Getting started is easy. Call me at 314-863-0008, 314-863-0008 to arrange for a free health insurance coaching session, or email me at aaron@jblfinancial.com.
Now back to Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here's Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
That's right. You're back here on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio St. Louis. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. I'm Aaron Lapidus. No, I'm not. I'm just Aaron's dad. Aaron's not here today. Didn't mean to fake you out. It's all good, but we do have Steve holding on line one. Steve, thanks so much for calling the show. You have a question about Social Security? Go for it.
Going to give you an easy one, I think. My wife and I both applied about December and set it to start paying, I guess, when we hit April, when we hit our 70th birthday. Is there anything else we need to do?
Nope.
Or just wait for the checks to come in?
Just wait for the dough, bro.
That's it?
That's
they don't
it.
Call back and double check or anything? Or
Never. They'll never call you. And you have to take it at 70, so you don't have any choice. So they're happy to push the money out to you. Congratulations.
Yes. Well, yep. That's, okay. We hope we keep lasting another 20, 30 years.
Amen. So you having a big party?
No. It's COVID,
You guys are vaccinated by now. Just invite.
Actually, we got number 2 yesterday down in Cape Girardeau.
Well, congratulations, and the best to you and your wife on your future plans. And thanks for calling the show.
Thank you, and enjoy listening to you on Saturday.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Yeah, at 70 you have to take the money. You don't have any choice. And Social Security doesn't really. They're never going to call you. I mean, the government doesn't call you. That's a good one. They don't send you emails either. Just so you know. So whether and a lot of that's spamming and plishing and all kinds of goofy stuff. But again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, Steve-O, for breaking the ice this morning. 931-5877. Star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. We did receive another text message. It says, hello. Upon retirement, when my wife and I move our 401k plans from our employer accounts, can we combine them into one account, or do they have to stay separate? It's interesting. I've received this question many times. And, it seems kind of funny. You think, if my wife and I are both retired, and if we're pulling, why can't we combine them? The answer is you can. But one of you have to be dead. While you're alive, sorry, you're not allowed to combine them. And the reason is this money that was put in pre-tax, you have to pull out based upon your age. So unless you and your wife were born exactly the same day, they still wouldn't let you combine it. But for required minimum distribution purposes, for pre-retire, pre-59.5% penalties, all that kind of stuff, you have to keep them in your own Social Security numbers until one of you passes on. So no good luck with that, as you can imagine. And I hope they answer your question. So you keep them separate until later. We do have Tim that also has a Social Security question. Tim, thanks so much for calling this morning.
Your show could not be more timely. I can't thank you enough.
Well, you're very welcome. We'll send you the bill. No problem.
Fine. Here's a question. A dear friend of mine passed away. He is 63, and his wife is 58, and she is a newbie, and she has no clue on whether she's going to get any Social Security benefits.
Okay, well, the fact is that she will. She becomes eligible to collect on her husband's Social Security benefit at the age of 60. That's when the first eligibility occurs. But the bad news is that if she's still actively working, she probably isn't going to take it, because what happens is that if she earns over $17,500, they're going to start taking back $1 for every $2 that she earns over that amount.
She may not work full time. She worked for him, unfortunately, and so with his passing, the business closed, and they have some savings, but.
Cool.
She will not draw Social Security until she reaches the age of 60. Then, no.
That's correct. And then when she does draw off of his account, because she's younger than her normal retirement age, she'll get a discount. So, as an example, let's say that his normal retirement age benefit was, let's say it was $3,000 just for fun. If she's drawing it at the age 60, she's probably only going to get about $2,000.
Okay.
But it's good. So, but again, it would be good for her to go to socialsecurity.gov. It's in English. You can read about other scenarios that are like that. And I think that would be very helpful for her.
Tremendous help. I appreciate that. We're having dinner with her tonight. So I'll
wonderful.
Okay?
And Tim, thank you so much for listening to the show. And again, I hope that helps her.
It's going to help. Thank you so much.
Have a great day. We love that. We've got Judy on line 2 that has a question about Roth IRAs, I believe. Judy, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
How are you?
I'm sorry Aaron's ill and you're having to wing it, but you're doing a very good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had a little bit of experience before the youngster joined me, but it's certainly
really?
It's certainly.
I thought maybe you forgot that.
Yeah, well, it was 7 years of pain, but. It's funny. It's funny. I'm going to have to go. I like to say I leave it out on the field. On these shows, so I'm going to probably have to go home and take a nap. My wife's not going to be happy, but she'll get she'll get over it. So you have a Roth IRA question?
Yes. My hubby was wondering how much we can contribute for 2020 to a Roth.
Well, you can contribute to. You still have earned income for this year, is that correct?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
So you can contribute up to 100% of your earned income to a maximum of $7,000.
Okay.
So if you earn $2,000, guess what? You can only put in $2,000. But if you've earned $7,000.
That's for 2020, though, correct?
Yes, for 2020.
Oh, okay.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, he just wants to know how much to write you a check for next week.
Life is good. We don't mind. And we're just kind of, what's nice is we're just kind of moving money around, right? We're going from our non-retirement account to a Roth so that money can grow tax deferred. And, it's not a bad thing.
That's true. That is true.
But, I mean, your check's going to be much bigger than my check, since I'm hoping we're going to get a chance to take you out to lunch for once.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice. We'll just go next door. They're not, we'll wear a mask into the restaurant as we're supposed to. We'll take them off when we're sitting down, and so we can breathe all the air that everybody else is, and We'll have some fun.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's a deal. We'll see you then.
We'll see you then. Thanks so much, Judy, for calling.
All
I
right.
appreciate
Have
it
a
as
good day.
always, and have a wonderful day. Love when Judy calls. She always has great questions, and she just got a free lunch out of the deal. So thank you, Judy. Woohoo. Can't wait to see you. And I like her kind comments also. I'm trying to carry the pail, carry the water as best as I can without the star of the show being here. So I appreciate that. We do have about 8 minutes left. Our phone lines are open. Love to hear from you. 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. Love to hear from you. We've been getting a lot of Social Security questions this morning, so I'm not going to. I had one I was going to talk about, but I think I'll pass on that one. But let's get to, I guess the question I received. I get this. Aaron and I get this every single week. Have I accumulated enough assets so I can retire comfortably? What's interesting is that this is a question that, as I like to tell Erin, in the time before she was born, people didn't ask this question. Most people had pensions. Most people had Social Security benefits, and the environment was different. It wasn't until 1990 when the IRA was actually created. And what's interesting now is that everyone has their own magic number. It really depends on your age, when you're going to retire, what sources you have available to you, and when they're available to you. What is the cost to maintain the lifestyle that you have? And also your health. And frankly, marital status is also, it's also a situation. Having a good marriage is the best thing that you can do on the planet. Having a bad marriage can be the most expensive and, frankly, emotionally the worst thing that you can do in your life. So be happy with who you're with. But again, the process really, the question isn't really, do I have enough? Have I accumulated enough? The real question becomes, what is your spending? And I think once you have a very good idea about what your spending is, you can make some decisions. We help our clients make decisions on when to turn, and I like to call it faucet management. When do we turn on and off certain faucets? Some can be turned on and off. Some can only be turned on, like Social Security. Once it's turned on, it's on. That's it. It's all done. Unless, of course, you repay it within the first year. You can do that once during your lifetime. There are a lot of decisions that you have to make, unfortunately, that are also interlocking. So I'm not as concerned with folks about how much they've accumulated, which is why, as you know, we don't talk about we have a minimum amount of assets to come visit with us, because we don't, because everybody's life is a different size based on their indebtedness, based upon their family situation. We have clients, unfortunately, for them that are helping raise other families. Sometimes theirs, sometimes other people's. And so, therefore, everybody's family obligations are different. We have some clients that have, children that are going to need help over the long haul. So it's very different. So again, everybody's number's a little different. What's important to remember is that basically it's an algebra problem. Let's take John and Sally as an example. They need $6,000 a month to maintain their lifestyle. They're going to get $3,000 from Social Security or $3,000 short. They also have an $80,000 home equity loan and credit debt to liquidate. They're paying about $500 to $600 a month for those obligations. What's kind of interesting is the way we look at debt is we look at debt as basically being a hold, sometimes a stranglehold, on the capital that you have. Should I pay off this debt versus not paying off? So let's use their example. They have $6,000 a year that they're paying to deal with certain debt obligations. We know that using a 4% withdrawal rate, they need to have $150,000 of capital, withdrawing 4% interest to maintain those debt payments. The question becomes, if they only owe $80,000 and it costs $150,000 or they have $150,000 of assets that are being held hostage to pay that debt, wouldn't it make more sense for them to pay off that debt? The answer is yes, of course it would. So creating a game plan to do that. So again, in their particular situation, everybody is a little bit different. So be in a position where you can design a portfolio to deliver the results that you need really also depends upon what's going on with the other faucets, right? And that's why for most folks, they come in for a coaching session, right? They come in and they go, hey, this is where we are. Can you give us confirmation on our thinking? Because I will tell you, 9% of the folks that come in, they know they can retire. They're just not really sure how the pieces get put together. They need a guy to do that. They need a coach. They want somebody to coach them through. They want someone to coach them through in terms of helping them get engaged with Medicare. And then, frankly, like our friend Judy, Judy's a regular caller. She's a client. We love her. They want somebody to watch over their money, to help them make investment decisions so they can spend the time doing the things that they want to do. And fortunately, as the investment advisor, we have their confidence to be able to continue to do that, which is totally cool. That's how we get paid, and frankly, that's why it makes it fun. And so we love seeing our clients, including Judy and her husband, come in for coaching sessions, and we talk about what's going on in life. Do we need to make adjustments to our game plan as things are going on? And frankly, being invited on the ride is more fun than anything else that you can imagine. Really, Aaron and I feel like we've just got the best job in the world. We're financial plumbers, right? We're turning on and off faucets all the time, which is a lot of fun to do. Again, our phone lines are open. We love to hear from you. 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the currently active text line. So we love to hear from you on those. We do appreciate that. We do have about I guess we got about 3 minutes left in the show. We could do the Fire on the Coach's music at this point, but instead of doing that, I just want to let you know I'm going to go into my last discussion of the day, which is okay. We had a big tax law change last year, and really it was sort of just an aberration. Some of the IRA rules the penalty rules were basically they were relaxed for a 1-year period. And we've gone back to the real world, which is, there are ways that you can create early withdrawal fees from your IRA if you're not totally grown up. Again, totally being a grown up is somebody at 59 and a half who can withdraw money from IRAs without any penalty. So what I wanted to do is I've been getting some questions about these from some of our youngsters, over 55 and under 59 clients. And I wanted to share a couple of these. So what are some of the ways that you can avoid the early withdrawal penalty? Number one is, and this was from one of our texters today, was a permanent disability of the IRA owner. Money can be withdrawn without penalty in the event an IRA owner becomes permanently disabled. However, it's not tax-free. Anytime you make money from a withdrawal from a traditional IRA, it is a taxable distribution. The second one is death of the IRA owner. You can, those penalties are basically waived. And also what's kind of nice is if you have a spousal beneficiary, you can then move that money to the spouse. They can include that in their account. They can then add those to their IRA assets without any penalty. Number 3 is withdrawals are used to pay for non-reimbursed medical expenses. That's right. In the event of either serious illness or injury that may require prolonged or expensive medical treatment, Uncle Sam will waive the early withdrawal fee on the condition that the expenses are in excess of 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. So things have to be pretty bad. But if they are, guess what? You can pull money from your IRA and pay taxes on those. These are some questions that we go through and answer, as well as other things in terms of creating game plans during coaching sessions we have at our office. They're fun. They're free at Clayton, or you can Zoom us or give us a phone call, 314-863-0008, or go to our website, jblfinancial.com. See you next week.
The opinions Opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the Retirement Coach. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. here on the Big 550 KTRS.